Two people. Same age, same salary, same savings in the bank. One of them buys a home, the other keeps renting, and invests every dollar of the difference. 20 years later, one of them has built over $500,000 in home equity. The other has an investment portfolio that might surprise you. Or it might not, depending on one thing neither of them can control from a spreadsheet. Here's the problem with almost every rent versus buy video you've ever watched. One side leads with the ending, the other leads with flexibility and calls it a win. Neither one runs the full math. This video runs the full math, the hidden costs, the real numbers, and the one factor that actually decides this entire debate. And it isn't the house, and it isn't the apartment. Hey, I'm Larry, a semi-retired electrician who's figured out simple money systems that actually work. And stick around until the end. I've got a free gift that'll help you run your own numbers. I've worked beside people who bought homes in their 20s, others who rented for decades, and plenty of them still aren't sure they made the right call. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which choice comes out ahead financially, and why the honest answer really depends on something most people never actually track. Let's get into it. Ryan and Sarah are both 30 years old. Both earn $80,000 a year, and both have saved $70,000, which is real discipline at their age. They're both currently renting in the same mid-sized city, and both are looking at the same kind of home. Sarah decides to buy. She puts her full $70,000 down on a $350,000 house. That's exactly 20%, so she avoids mortgage insurance entirely. Ryan decides to keep renting. He signs a lease on a comparable place nearby and puts his $70,000 straight into a low-cost index fund. To keep things fair, he also invests every month whatever he isn't spending compared to what Sarah's paying to own. Same starting line, same money, completely different paths. Sarah looks like she's building stability, and Ryan looks like he's found a shortcut. So which one actually comes out ahead 30 years later? The moment Sarah signs at closing, she is not ahead. She's behind, and not by a little. First, the closing costs. 2% to 5% of the purchase price goes to lender fees, title insurance, and prepaid taxes. So her real day one cost isn't actually $70,000, it's closer to $84,000. Then comes the mortgage itself, which is $280,000 at 7% for 30 years. That brings her principal and interest payment to roughly $1,863 a month. Now add insurance and a real maintenance budget, not the hopeful kind, but the honest kind. And her total monthly cost to own the home lands at $2,653. And here's what nobody tells first-time buyers. In year one, almost none of that payment builds equity. Of her $1,863 mortgage payment, roughly $1,600 goes straight to interest. Only around $200 a month actually reduces what she owes. And in year one, Sarah is out roughly $32,000 in total housing costs. And in year two, her water heater fails. The repair costs her $400, and it won't be the last surprise bill she'll have. But in 3 years, a nice surprise has already happened. Sarah has built over $100,000 in equity. Her mortgage balance has dropped to around $271,000, and her home, appreciating at around 3.5% a year, is worth close to $390,000. So her equity sits around $117,000. That's real, but it's also locked inside a house she can't partially sell if life gets complicated. Then, in year 7, her roof needs attention sooner than she hoped, and the cost is $9,000. But it comes straight out of the maintenance fund she'd been building since day one. And yes, it stings, but she budgeted for exactly this, and it never touches her mortgage payment. And by year 10, her equity has grown to roughly $253,000, and her monthly payment hasn't moved a single dollar since the day she signed. That's what Sarah has going for her that never shows up early. Her payment never changes. Meanwhile, everyone else's rent keeps climbing. As for Ryan, what happens when his rent isn't $2,000 anymore? Now for Ryan's journey. He signs a lease at $1,950 a month, and it's about $700 less than what Sarah is paying to own. He puts his $70,000 into the market on day one and invests that $700 gap every single month on top of it. At the end of year one, his account is already ahead of where it started. Between his lump sum growing and his monthly contributions compounding, it's somewhere around $83,000. But then, in year two, the market drops, and it's not a small dip, but a real correction. His account falls, and a friend tells him to pull out before it gets worse. He doesn't, but he thinks about it. And that's the part nobody puts in these comparison videos. The doubt is real, and staying invested when the number on the screen is falling takes more discipline than people expect. And by year three, Ryan's portfolio is back up to around $112,000. Sarah's equity at the same point is close to $117,000, so they're almost dead even. Two completely different paths landing in nearly the same place. And by year 10, Ryan's portfolio has grown to roughly $220,000, although something's changed. His lease renewal shows up again, and it's another increase. What started at $1,950 is now over $2,500 and still climbing. It isn't shocking anymore, it's just become part of life. And more importantly, that gap that let him invest so much early on has nearly disappeared. But what Ryan has going for him is real. No maintenance calls, no roof replacement eating into a fund he had to build himself. And if something happens, a job loss, a medical bill, his money is one phone call away and not a home sale away. But his plan only works if he actually keeps investing that difference every single month, including the months the market drops 30% and every instinct says wait it out in cash. The question is, what would Ryan's number really look like if he didn't invest the difference? Okay, let's run this all the way to year 20 and then year 30 using the same assumptions the whole way through. At year 20, Sarah's equity is approximately $536,000. Ryan's portfolio is approximately $442,000, and this assumes he stayed fully invested the whole way, even as his rent climbed past $3,400 a month. And at this point, Sarah's ahead $94,000. Now year 30. Sarah makes her final mortgage payment. She walks out onto her porch that afternoon, and for the first time in 30 years, she doesn't owe a single dollar on the house underneath her. Her monthly housing cost drops to just taxes, insurance, and maintenance, somewhere around $1,000 a month. Her home is worth just under $1 million. That same month, Ryan opens another lease renewal. Same as always, it's another increase, and now around $4,600 a month. For Ryan, there's no year where that payment ends, not like there is for Sarah. But look at what Ryan actually built. After 30 years of staying invested, his portfolio is at $888,000. That's real money, and it was earned without ever owning a single wall of the place he lives in. Put them side by side, and Sarah's $982,000 in home equity is barely ahead of Ryan's $888,000 in the market. And here's what's interesting. Sarah's lead barely moved in that last decade, about $94,000 at year 20, and still about $94,000 at year 30. And even though Ryan's monthly investing shrank, and both portfolios were mostly growing through compounding, the race almost stopped changing. So under these assumptions, buying does come out ahead, but not by an overwhelming amount. Sarah's lead held for 3 straight decades, and with her cost of living now a small fraction of Ryan's, while Ryan's keeps climbing every year. But here's the number that actually decided this whole comparison. Ryan only gets that close because he consistently invested that difference every single month for 20 years, including the months it felt terrible to do so. And the truth is, most renters don't. They upgrade their apartment, they take the vacation, the gap gets spent instead of invested, and the theoretical number never becomes the real one. And once Sarah bought the house, she never had to make that decision again. Her mortgage payment forced the saving, whether she felt like it or not. And here's the part most people miss. Homeowners underestimate what it actually costs to own. Renters overestimate their own discipline. And the winner of this entire debate was never decided by the house or the apartment. It was decided by what happened to the money every single month for 30 years. Ryan's plan could have matched her or even beaten her. The math was there. What wasn't guaranteed was the discipline to execute it for 3 decades, through market drops and lifestyle creep and every reason to skip a month. So the real question isn't which option wins on a spreadsheet. It's which version of yourself you can actually count on for the next 30 years. If you know you'll invest the difference consistently through every market drop, renting can genuinely outperform buying, especially if you're not staying put for at least 7 to 10 years. But if you're honest with yourself and you know that extra money tends to disappear into a nicer lifestyle instead of a brokerage account, a mortgage payment might be the only version of saving that actually works for you. Before you decide anything, do this. Run your own numbers. What you're paying in rent and what a mortgage would actually cost in your market, including taxes and maintenance. I'll give you a simple way to do that in just a minute. Then ask yourself the only question that matters, not which option wins on paper, but whether you'd actually stick with the plan. And in an economy where job security and interest rates keep shifting under everyone's feet, that kind of honesty about yourself might be worth more than picking the theoretically better option. And that's the real Larry's Ladder lesson here. The winner of this debate was never the house or the apartment. It was what happened to the money every single month for 30 years straight. Whichever path fits you, the goal isn't to copy Sarah or Ryan. It's to be honest with yourself about which one you'd actually follow through on. If this helped you think through this decision, hit like and subscribe. I break down real financial scenarios like this every week. And drop a comment below. Which path would you choose and why? I actually read every one. And check the description for your free gift. It's the rent versus buy scorecard I promised, built to help you run exactly those numbers for your own situation. No strings attached. And if you're curious about the psychology of money, watch this video next. And remember, if this electrician can do it, so can you.